What happens when you combine a woman on a mission to promote the arts with the fairest movie nerd of them all? Well, you get 20-minute burst of pure podcast goodness. You're listening to Open Here, a podcast produced by PACTV. I'm Tiff Phillips. Let's get started. Hi there. Hope all is well and wonderful. We have a great show for you today. Our guest is a public relations professional who works hard to support art organizations and nonprofits. Join me as I chat with Michelle McGrath, founding president of McGrath PR. All right, I am with Michelle McGrath. It's so great to see you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you as well.
So we're going to get a bit into McGrath PR, but I kind of want to get involved. It's come full circle for you because you used to be here all the time. You
Absolutely.
were a correspondent for PCN. You also rented our studios for podcasting. What's it feel like to be back?
It feels great. It's like back in the home turf.
How long ago was that?
Let's see. It was the beginning of about 2016, was it, I think? So, yeah, it was a while ago.
Wow, and you've probably shape-shifted so many times with your roles.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? What's your background?
Sure, yeah. So I am definitely a South Shore, Massachusetts girl. I grew up in Stoughton and kind of had migrated my way down the South Shore through Whitman and Halifax and Kingston, where I raised my 3 kids, and now I reside in the lovely community of Scituate.
You love the South Shore? Have you always wanted to be here?
I love it, yeah. And I also love, New England. I don't ever feel like I want to leave the beautiful Four Seasons type of atmosphere that we get to enjoy here.
Exactly. You have a super big arts background. Not only are you a good cook, we're Facebook friends, so I've seen your amazing dishes, beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
You're also a performer and a singer. What does that play? What kind of role does the arts play in your life?
Well, it's just completely integral to who I am as a person. When I was a kid, I went to Stoughton Public Schools, and I realized I had a gift for being an artist. I did a lot of drawing and painting back then, and as I got older, I decided it was probably going to have to be my career. And then in college, not only was I in school to become an illustrator, I also really got engaged by singing, musical theater, and straight theater, all with all of my friends. So I've seen kind of the full gamut of the arts in my life, and I see how it can be so transformative to people. And so I feel really grateful that I get to make my career supporting the arts.
So what was your journey to coming into PR? What was that? What did that look like for you?
Sure. So after I had my 3 children and I was home taking care of my grandmother, I hadn't been in the workforce for a while. And so I looked for a part-time job to get back in the workforce. But having had a background in graphics and printing and that had kind of seen 7 years of space since I had been in that arena, and so I was kind of out of sorts with the language of the software and things like that. So I found a part-time job working in media relations with PR First. I'll give them a plug with my buddy Jim Farrell. They're still there over in Norwell, Hanover line, and I worked there for a number of years doing, lower level media relations work, helping out. But it was primarily business and politics that they were focused on. And it wasn't my love. And I brought a dear friend and client in to meet my boss. And he was actually the one that said to me, I think you can do this for a business, and inspired me to take what I learned in my years there and apply that with my education and create this business. And it's working its way towards 14 years now, and I'm pretty proud of how it's gone.
Yeah, tell us more about your business. So who's your primary focus?
So I primarily focus on arts and culture clients, nonprofits, and small business. And that sometimes breaks into some, other sectors, like nonprofits, for instance, are often all kinds of industries. So I have some in agriculture, I have some in history, I have, they vary depending on where those clients come from. And so I'm able to apply the knowledge that I have to help them gain visibility.
It must take a special kind of person to be in PR. What kind of qualities do you think that person should have?
You have to be an insane multitasker. And you have to be extremely organized. I am very methodical about how I handle my work. And, certainly at times when my work is very busy, I'll bring in freelancers that help me with the volume. But if I'm able to keep extremely organized and also apply all of my skills in a way that is methodical, then I usually can keep a grip on most of it on my own. So,
do you think you also have to be a bit of an extrovert for that?
Oh my goodness, yes, yeah. Like, of course, I think it's, first of all, if you've spent any time in front of a camera, you you have to be that type of personality to be able to engage with people, and then be in the situation where you're able to also advise, your clients on how to appear in the media as well.
What does a typical day look like for you?
Oh, well, I am one lucky girl because, when I moved to Scituate, I had the most beautiful business desk built by a carpenter or a woodworker. And so I have a home-based office, and my kids are grown, and I'm an empty nester now. So I have this cat that keeps me awfully busy, and lots of friends and a wonderful life there. But yes, I definitely start every day with a double espresso. That's like my mandatory requirement to get rolling. And once I get into business mode, I'm thinking about the last 24 hours, and the media never sleeps. So when my work yesterday is what inspires what's in the media today. So I'm often reviewing or analyzing content, or trying to look at insights for social media clients, or figuring out the trajectory of what my next, project is, or maybe signing on a new client. That happens frequently as well.
What about this field brings you a lot of joy?
Well, knowing that if you're an artist, or you have a cultural background, you can't help but be a passionate person, because it is integral to who you are as a human being. And so for me, public relations became my opportunity to take art and turn it into an applied art form for work. So am I sitting at home doing illustrations every day? Am I always at a singing rehearsal? No, but I am always in business helping people that want to do that for their career get it out there into the media. And so I feel like it allows me to still apply my creativity in my career.
I love that. So where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, it's an interesting place to be in life. Like the pandemic, put such like a pause on everybody, and I spent a lot of time trying to do bucket list things. And so during that time, I was able to spend a significant amount of time writing a cookbook, which I'm so grateful became a bestseller. And
wow,
yeah, it was very exciting. It was such a nice bucket list project, and it was primarily to allow my kids to have the recipes that they were raised on documented, so that way they'll have it for future generations. But it was another creative outlet project, right? I got to look at the design and take pictures and do recipe taste testing, and that's some of the things that I do for some of my clients now. So it was really special to have that opportunity to break out and do something fun. But for the future, I am considering writing another cookbook, which will be, again, just like a side project. I'm hoping to travel some more now that the pandemic has lifted some of the restrictions so we can get out of town. And I think I might look into some other business ventures as well. I definitely always want to do something in support of arts and culture, and I'm certainly very happy with my company as it stands now. But there's always that little itch to, what if I tried something new?
Right.
So hopefully I'll be sticking around the area though, because I really like the South Shore.
It is a beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, finally, I just want to ask you, out of all the things you've done, you're such a well-rounded person. What are you most proud of?
Oh, my goodness.
And it's hard because you've accomplished so much.
Well, I would say if I'm looking at over my entire life is raising 3 successful, beautiful, beloved children to be adults that are soaring in their lives and careers, that there could be nothing better than that. And I think that really is nothing else would top that. That's the very best. In my business life, to have been able to develop a company from proprietary means, where I'm actually designing the systems that make it successful. From a business standpoint, I'm pretty proud of that.
Great way to end it. Michelle, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was wonderful coming in.
All right, now we're going to switch gears and bring you a little slice of entertainment. Here's Dave Antoine to tell you all about the wonderful mind of Wes Anderson. Have a listen.
With Asteroid City, the new Wes Anderson film coming out this year, we are more than likely going to be treated to yet another distinct work from the auteur himself. To watch an Anderson film comes the familiar. You can certainly expect things like a diverse period soundtrack, stop-motion animation, colorful production design, Bill Murray, and many of the other trademarks that come to define an Anderson film. There's a reason why social media is lit up with multiple videos paying tribute to the man's work as of late. When I was 19, I first caught Rushmore at a local theater with my father. Given it's the late 1990s, American cinema is at an inflection point as the 20th century is about to close. There are 2 perhaps unspoken movements happening within the mainstream American film market. On one hand, we're seeing the oversaturation of teen-centric movies starring the likes of Freddie Prinze Jr. and Levi Sobieski. Titles like She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait, and American Pie are driving adolescents to the multiplex in droves. On the other hand, American independent film, having been on the fringes for years, screened only in city art house theaters, has made its way to the suburbs with films like Dogma and The Blair Witch Project. It's not at all without reason to see a film like Being John Malkovich end up in this weekend's box office top 10, alongside a James Bond movie or Denzel Washington thriller. However, what I see in between these 2 movements is a film like Rushmore, a sophomore effort by Anderson that, on the surface, could be seen as a teen film. A hopelessly love-struck student falling for a teacher while dealing with the pitfalls of growing up. But underneath, Rushmore is indeed much more than a high school movie that has more in common with Alexander Payne's Election than it ever would with movies like Never Been Kissed or Disturbing Behavior. An Anderson film in the later years would become something of a brand, an experience reserved for directors like Martin Scorsese or Stanley Kubrick. You're watching something that's the opposite of what you've seen before. It's a work with a singular voice by an artist more an author of the work than film director. Recently, I had the experience of attending a film series at the Brattle, known as The Complete Wes Anderson. Between late-night train rides full of unhappy sports fans or mile-long walks through the Boston area, yours truly made the week-long commitment to see all 10 films leading up to the release of Anderson's latest, Asteroid City. So what have I learned between stalled train rides and poor late-night dinner choices during this time? Well, quite a bit, actually. I'll get this out of the way. With an Anderson film, they're distinct. You can expect to see scene juxtaposition with dialogue in the foreground and action in the background. You can expect to see nods to international cinema, from aesthetic choices like production and wardrobe design to the score itself. Scale, you can also expect the exploration of themes like dysfunctional families or fixtures like the idealistic dreamer, misunderstood by their peers, clearly an Anderson surrogate. It's not entirely out of the question to see grief and tragedy explored as a catalyst for personal growth and change. These are themes explored in films like The Darjeeling Limited and The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I don't see the need to rehash all the films and plots of Anderson's films, that they all to some extent are a variant on the Anderson archetype. Characters in a large and sometimes unforgiving world, striving intentionally or unintentionally for better in the face of oppression. But for me personally, during these screenings, I'm reminded both of happier times and lost moments in my life. Memories that came flooding back to me as I watched Rushmore and the Royal Tenenbaums. Thoughts of when I was visiting home from college and watched these with my father. We both laughed at a film that was unlike anything we viewed before. But not all memories are good. And watching a double of The Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs, I'm reminded of romance that could have been, but didn't become. But I'm not ashamed. I'm proud to carry that with me in the sense that, like Royal Tenenbaum or Herman Bloom, growth is always welcome regardless of your station in life. But in watching this series, I'm also given an opportunity to revisit films I didn't appreciate when I first saw them. I had a lifetime of experience in between watching The Life Aquatic or The Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm able to view these films with a more weary, but appreciative eye than when I first saw them the first time. I take these viewings both as an evaluation of my shortcomings, but also an ability to make good on an experience I deprived myself from. As we all know in the past few years, movie theaters have been making a rightfully deserved comeback. My time watching these films on Brattle Street was just another reminder about the value of the theatrical experience. It's one I certainly took for granted when I couldn't be bothered to see The Fantastic Mr. Fox or The Grand Budapest Hotel when they were first released. It's not something I'll take for granted now. I especially didn't when we were facing a brutal nor'easter in October 2021, and I, needing to get out, watched The French Dispatch, a film that in itself was delayed by the pandemic. For me, I found a way to personally relate to a filmmaker whose work I've always enjoyed and will continue to enjoy. For anyone who knows me, I've had a personal relationship with cinema in a way that I don't think I could even define. But going to the movies makes me feel alive, as the one constant that I can always rely on to keep me going throughout the day. It's ultimately what the artist does that will leave an impression on me long after the credits roll. In watching Wes Anderson's work, they gave me the ability to reconcile my own personal hang-ups from my life to where I am as an adult. I'm older now, a little grayer, a little wider, and a little wiser, and will certainly be in line to catch Asteroid City when it's released. I expect it to leave an impression on me that, like much of Anderson's work, has. But this time, I'm viewing it through the lens of a life lived with regret and good fortune. It will just happen to have an amazing soundtrack as well.
Thanks, Dave. I'm going to binge watch all the Wes Anderson movies now. I also want to thank, of course, the one and only Michelle McGrath for being our guest today. It was such a pleasure. And of course, I want to thank you for giving us a listen. You've been listening to Open Here, a podcast produced by Plymouth Area Community Television. PACTV is the community media provider for the Massachusetts towns of Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, and Duxbury. To see more of our content, visit pactv.org/thelocalscene. I'm Tiff Phillips. Thanks for tuning in. Let's hang out again soon. Hi friends, if you like this video by The Local Scene, share a love and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe.